Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to Scents of South Jersey with me, Kellen, for another fragrance video. So today what I wanted to do is talk about some vintage alternatives. Everybody seems to enjoy videos and content centered around clones or alternatives to things that are either more expensive or harder to find. I have sort of a hot take on clones. I think that, when it comes to clones, and I should say alternatives, because this is an alternative video. When it comes to that, there's nothing wrong with it if you're getting an alternative to something that is no longer available, no longer in production. I think that that's fine. I think that's actually not a bad thing. It gets you in the range of where you want to be with some of the fragrances. But where I think it gets out of hand is when you're buying clones, identical copies, multiple of the same kind of the same fragrance. That's where I kind of think it gets stupid, like just buy the original thing. Anyway, just wanted to vent there for a second. But what I wanted to talk about today are two alternatives to some vintage fragrances. These fragrances are still in production, but these are their vintage forms, and that is Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme, the made in Italy version with the sticker, and of course, one of my favorites, Drakkar Noir, and this is the Cosmere edition. You can see it there, wherever, down at the bottom, you can see it there, Cosmere. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about these fragrances, then we're going to talk about the alternatives, and I'll show you the presentations, and I'll give you my opinion. So before we get started, if it's your first time here and you enjoy this type of fragrance content that I create, make sure to subscribe. Again, we're almost at 10K. Can't thank you all enough who have all watched and supported and have subscribed. Thank you again. Please check out the Scents of South Jersey Instagram page for news and updates on the channel, photos of fragrances from my collection, and daily scent of the day posts. Also, if you're interested in buying fragrances directly from my collection, check out my Mercari page. I have a bunch of listings there of fragrances that are in my collection that I'm just not wearing anymore, that I'd rather somebody else enjoy rather than just holding on to them for no reason too. So let's jump right into this video and take a look at the alternatives to these great vintage classics. Okay, so Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme came out in 1994. From the house of Dolce & Gabbana, I really have not much experience. I have this one. Originally, Pour Homme was gifted to me in 2011. I was like 23 then. And it was Christmas. My dad gave it to me and I sprayed it on and I was kind of like, and it smells, because he had it. He had this one, the sticker version. I distinctly remember it. I know he had at least one bottle. He loved it. I didn't really like it when I first got it. I kind of thought it was old manish. I remember even saying that to him too. And look at me now. God, slap myself. So I put it on my shelf and I continued to wear Jean Paul Gaultier's La Mel because that's what I wore. I love that. And I remember running out of that and being in an office job the next year. And I said, well, I have this. I might as well just use it instead of going out and buying a new bottle, because back then I wasn't making a lot of money. And I remember, using it, and eventually I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And my thoughts on the new version is it's still a decent scent. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I think it's still good. But everyone said once I got into this reviewing and vintages, you have to get this, and it is awesome. So I sprayed some on this hand. The alternative to this came out 2 years later. It's an aromatic, spicy fragrance, so, a fougere, and it is from the house of Nazareno Gabrielli. Nazareno Gabrielli, and this is for men or Pour Homme. So, Pour Homme, Eau de Toilette. Here's what the bottle looks like. Very similar looking to Dolce & Gabbana. Same shape, same colored juice, just a little bit taller. This is obviously a smaller bottle. This is 100 ml. The cap here, you can see that. So Nazareno Gabrielli. So I found out from a very, very trusted source that this is actually an inexpensive brand, like a cheapy brand in Europe, where in the United States it's harder to find. I paid about $50 for this, so not terrible for 100 ml, because I was looking for something, because I don't have much of this left. This is my only bottle, something similar. And I sprayed some on this hand. So I think that this is not necessarily a direct copy. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit more citrus forward, less on the tobacco. This has more of that tobacco note, but the dry down is when they are the closest. And they are most similar there as opposed to the opening. But this has a note, this floral note in it that's a little bit stingy, and I mean sour, but not in like a turned or spoiled way, but sour as in that's like it's either jasmine or one of those floral notes that are distinct. Again, I never pick them out, but the dry down, when it really is on your skin for a while, that's when they smell the most similar. This is just a lighter, fresher version where this is definitely heavier. Not to say that it's designed to be a heavy scent, but you get what I mean. So for the money, I think that this is something that you could benefit from if you can't find the sticker version of Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme, or you just don't want to spend the money too. Again, I saw something on Fragrantica, and I have to agree with it. Not a direct copy, but a great alternative and smells similar and will get you in the realm. Obviously, this is going to be higher quality, but if you don't want to spend the money or can't find it, not a bad pickup. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Drakkar Noir. Still being made. I still like the current formulation. The big complaint with it is the performance and the lack of the real notes. So again, this is the Cosmere version, whatever. It's one of the most classic fougères ever. The lavender, the oak moss, the smooth kind of deodorant shave foam scent. It's very nice. I sprayed some on here. I'll spray a little more. You know, it's very distinct, and you've smelled it. Everybody knows Drakkar Noir, but the fragrance that I think is a great alternative, if you can get it, is English Blazer. So this is English Blazer Original by English Blazer. So the brand is English Blazer. The scent is called Original, I believe. Now, there was an English Blazer from the scent Yardley of London, but this is a separate one. However, I think they're supposed to be the same smell. Here, you can take a look at the bottle. Definitely has that kind of, it reminds me a little bit of like an English laundry bottle. It's heavy glass, but it's still cheap. Like, you know, you can't pick it up by the cap. You know, decent projection with this one though. So this one is more of a citrus forward opening, similar to the last one. It has more citrus notes in it in the opening than what I get with Drakkar Noir, which is a little bit darker, more on the lavender. But with this one, it's a strong opening. Like it really, like when I spray it, it sort of fills the room. So great on the performance. When it dries down, that's when it comes to me like it's almost a direct copy of vintage Drakkar Noir, or you could say Drakkar Noir in general, but it reminds me of the longevity because this one lasts longer on my skin, just like the Cosmere version, as opposed to the current one. You don't have to spray a ton, and it smells nice. A little bit different in the opening, so it does its own thing, but at the same time, this is more of a direct copy of Drakkar Noir. Now, I got this for 25 bucks on Mercari from a seller. The seller is someone that watches the channel. Great guy, Jay, thank you so much. And I think it's harder to get in the United States though, but if you can get them on eBay. On eBay, they're around $45, but that's way less money than say a vintage Drakkar Noir would be. So great alternative, slight difference in the opening, but the dry down, they're 1-to-1 right there. Very, very, very close. Again, if you can get the real thing, it's always going to be better. I'm not saying any of these are better, but great alternatives. And I was lucky to find this for a really great price. All right, guys, that's it for this video of alternatives to vintage Dolce Gabbana Pour Homme, the made in Italy version, and of course, vintage Drakkar Noir. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to know what you think are good alternatives to these fragrances, if any, or would you rather just pony up the money and buy the real thing? I really wanted to do it, especially with this one, because I don't have much left, and this is harder to find too. So let me know in the comment section what you think of the video. Do you own any? Have you tried any of these alternatives? What are some other alternatives that you like to discontinued fragrances that are close? Let me know in the comment section. You know I always appreciate all of the interaction. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so. Check out the Instagram page and definitely check out that Mercari page. Again, the link is going to be in the description. Wanted to thank you all for hanging out with me and watching the video today, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.